Hi everybody, this is Peter Schiff. It is Friday, August 21st, 2009. Well, I'm going to start a new format with the video blogs today. I'm going to try to keep them shorter. I was told that if I keep them to around 5 minutes, perhaps more people will actually watch them. So I'm going to try that for a while. Anyway, today the markets were pretty strong. The Dow was up about 150 points. Again, the dollar was very weak. Dollar index right around 78. Didn't make a new low, but it looks very close to breaking down to me. Again, the stock market is being supported by the belief that the worst of the economy is over, that the recession is turning around. All of this, of course, is not true. The worst is yet to come still. All we've done is artificially stimulate the economy, as I've said, and once the stimulus wears off, it's going to be a horrific hangover. What I want to talk a little bit about, though, today is I came across a letter that apparently was written from Timothy Geithner to Congress with respect to raising the debt ceiling. Now, of course, the whole concept of this debt ceiling is ridiculous because every time we get to the federal debt ceiling, they raise it. But what's the point of having a ceiling if you raise it every time you hit it? In effect, there is no ceiling. But in a letter to Congress, listen to what Geithner wrote. Quote, "It is critically important that Congress act before the limit is reached so that citizens and investors here and around the world can remain confident that the United States will always meet its obligations." Now, actually, it's the reverse. The fact that we always increase the debt ceiling shows that we're never going to meet our obligations, that we're simply going to go deeper into debt. Meeting our obligations means paying it. If we refused to raise the debt limit, that would be a signal to our creditors that we're going to meet our obligations. Because if we refuse to raise the debt ceiling, then we actually have to pay back the money we borrowed. Congress either has to raise taxes or preferably cut spending. But if they keep going deeper into debt, we never meet our obligations. We keep pushing them off to a later date, making default inevitable. Now also, he writes, Congress has never failed to raise the debt limit when necessary, because members of both parties have long recognized the need to keep politics away from this issue. These actions have traditionally received bipartisan support. This is clearly a moment in our history that calls for continuation of that tradition. Why would we want to continue the tradition of going deeper into debt? What we need is to break this tradition. According to Geithner, our representatives are showing courage by increasing the debt ceiling. That doesn't take any courage. That's the coward's way out. Courage would be to refuse to go deeper into debt and instead to make the necessary spending cuts to bring the budget under control. To actually pretend that Congress is doing something courageous with the bipartisan support of leading the country deeper into debt, we need the opposite. We need our elected officials to take a real stand, to refuse to pass an increase in the debt ceiling. That's what the country needs, not what Geithner says we need, which is more deficit spending. That's the opposite of what we need. We need to rein in the deficit spending, and the best way to do that is for our elected representatives to refuse to increase the debt ceiling. So if anybody ever writes their congressman, this would be a perfect issue to try to urge your representatives not to vote to increase the debt ceiling, to show the world that we're serious about bringing our debts under control, that we will pay our bills by cutting government spending, not by just going deeper into debt. And speaking of foolish policies which bring us deeper into debt, the government announced today that the Cash for Clunkers program is going to come to a conclusion on Monday. I wrote a commentary on my website, Europac.net, again pointing out the fallacy in the Cash for Clunkers program, and I proposed another program, Dough for Dumps, where the government would give us money to destroy our houses so that we can go into debt to buy new ones. It's the same concept, and it's the same fallacy. You can summarize it with Henry Hazlitt's broken window. We don't make ourselves richer by destroying things so that we can repair them or go into debt to replace them. This is an example of the foolish policies that have led to this predicament. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm trying to keep this blog at 5 minutes or less. I'm going to try to blog more often then and have more blogs of a shorter duration. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening and have a great weekend.